Okay, so I just saw Wicked and I thought it was really good. I would definitely recommend you go see it. But I want to talk about a particular moment when Elphaba is performing Defying Gravity, when she falls out of a window and is falling into the city upside down. I could not stop being reminded of this now iconic scene from Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse. But this just in general got me thinking about the similarities between that 2018 Into the Spider-Verse movie and the original 1939 Victor Fleming The Wizard of Oz. If you think about it, The Wizard of Oz, the movie, not the book, because in the book Oz is a literal place, but in the Wizard of Oz movie, Oz doesn't exist, right? It's just this playground inside of Dorothy's mind, and the entire movie is just exploring Dorothy struggling with this idea of not taking what you have for granted. Basically, the whole concept of there's no place like home. All of the characters in this movie are there to remind her that there's no place like home. The Scarecrow, the Tin Man, the Cowardly Lion. They want a brain, a heart, courage, respectively, but they don't realize that they've had those things all along. And when she recruits them and they all follow the Yellow Brick Road and go to the Wizard of Oz and they meet him, they find out, of course, that he's not a real wizard, right? The grass isn't always greener. This magical city that she dreamed of somewhere over the rainbow isn't what it seems. And she needed to have this point illustrated to her by seeing these supporting characters undergo a very similar character arc, where they're all realizing that they had what they needed all along. And this is very similar to the role that the different Spider-Mans play in Into the Spider-Verse. The different versions of Spider-Man that we're introduced to, they all represent this lesson that Miles needs to learn, which is that he needs to, at some point, stop letting his fear of high expectations get in his own way. And all of these characters represent that. In both movies, our protagonists are given companions who are on the same journey that they're on, and the protagonist is able to learn their lesson vicariously through the experiences of their companions. And what Spider-Verse is applying from The Wizard of Oz is this idea that the protagonist could not simply have been told their lesson. Glinda indicates to Dorothy at the end of the movie that she couldn't have just told her that all it took was clicking her heels, because Dorothy wouldn't have understood. And similarly in Into the Spider-Verse, we get this scene of Miles' dad attempting to get through to Miles and communicate this idea of living up to his expectations and not being afraid of failure. This fear of failure is also represented in the movie's antagonist as well. Miles' companions serve as examples for Miles when he is able to move past this obsession with loss and failure. We have Kingpin, who is obsessed with what he's lost. He's obsessed with regaining his family. And this idea of the antagonist embodying a version of our hero where they never learn their lesson is also present in The Wizard of Oz, where the Wicked Witch is obsessed with what she can't have, that being the ruby red slippers. And it seems like, as far as we can tell, the slippers don't really have significance beyond just the fact that the witch wants them. Glinda tells Dorothy that they must be powerful because the witch wants them, but we don't actually know that they're powerful necessarily. You can even hear the actress who played the Wicked Witch, Margaret Hamilton, on an episode of Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood, where she's talking about this idea of the want for these slippers kind of being at the core of this Wicked Witch character.
She's very unhappy because she never gets what she wants, Mr. Rogers. You know, most of us get something along the line, but as far as we know, that witch just never got what she wanted. And mainly, she wanted those ruby slippers.
That's pretty much all I had to say about this. I just thought it was kind of cool how Wicked borrows from Into the Spider-Verse, and Into the Spider-Verse is also borrowing from the original Wizard of Oz. Go watch Wicked if you haven't seen it, or rewatch the original Wizard of Oz if you haven't seen it in a while. It's pretty good. Peace.